Hello Capsuleer, my name is Gildy and welcome to EVE Online. We just finished Crimson Harvest, dust barely settled, and we're off to another month-long event. Winter Nexus 2025 has arrived on the 9th of December and will last till the 12th of January. It might not be as revolutionary as Crimson Harvest compared to the last year's iteration, but after running all of the types of content in HiSec, I can safely say that the event, at least content-wise, is better than ever. In this video, I'll go over the basic in case you didn't see my last year video, what are the prizes from the event, and how to run every content type, share my fits, and some tips on the way. So let's start with the good stuff. Login reward track takes 34 days for 34 rewards. Omega players can get up to 650,000 skill points, and the last skill point redeem is at day 26, giving everyone a lot of time to miss stuff here and there, which is great. Some might get out for holidays away from their PCs, some might go out partying, so not making it a mandatory 34-day redeem is a great start. Other rewards here are ship skins, combat boosters, evermarks, and skinner elements, so the regular for the events now. Reward track in-game for this year has 1050 points at first, and CCP did already announce that it will be expanded for the last week of the event. But already we can grab some skins, 25 PLEX per character, and it's not that far, just 420 points, 40,000 skill points, and at the end, a new Perseverance blueprint crate. Perseverance is the newly announced ice mining destroyer, and I was unable to find any information if it will be introduced to regular circulation after the event, or if maybe it's going to be more like the Consortium mobile tractor units, which became quite rare and ridiculously expensive. So get yours and sit on it for a bit to find out. But enough talking about claiming rewards, let's look into how we can get involved with the event. First and foremost, how do we find event sites? They are situated in the event metaliminal storms. Metaliminal storms are system-wide effects that affect everyone currently within their range. However, those usually happen just in nullsec and sometimes bleed into lowsec. With the Winter Nexus, volatile ice storms spawn in all space, high, low, and null, and only within those storms you can find the event sites. To find where your nearest storm is, you can open your map, navigate in your filters to geography, and find metaliminal storms, which will highlight all the systems with them. If you're feeling adventurous, you can also find and buy filaments that will take you to storms in high, low, or null security systems, opening the possibility to take a filament to a dangerous space, running some sites there, and jumping back to safety of HiSec once you're done with the sites. For the content that will give us points, there are a few options to choose from. First, we have the regular target practice goals, which will have you use your festival launchers with snowballs, throwing them at NPCs, other players, structures, etc. Then there is a route starting with Destroy Watersucker task. First out of 13. This task gets you to hunt down all of the Interbus's newly deployed Yule LAD drones, which are this year's addition to the event. You do need to, first of all, add them to your overview by clicking on the menu here, opening the overview settings, then go to Filters and Types Shown tab and type in LAD in your search bar. They spawn all over the ice storm systems on celestials, planets and moons. To find them, you can use dscan initially to get the general idea of where they are, but then I found it's best to drop combat probes on their heads so you can warp to them right away rather than land away and burn in. This might lose you some kills because everyone is out to get them. They drop a variety of special edition items, collectibles, some references to EVE lore or events in-game, but what we are looking for is the cryotech, items that will be getting us potentially more loot from every type of site. There is 9 different pieces of cryotech, of course, 3 for exploration, 3 for mining, and 3 for combat sites, each being separate for HiSec, nullsec, and most lucrative, lowsec sites. You can see on the screen some of the cryotech one of my corp members, Maddie, found right after the event kicked off. I will go over what the items do and how to use them once I get to each of the content types a bit later. For hunting the haulers, since they are not super tanky, a tech-free destroyer is perfect. You do need a warp disruptor or a scrambler because they do warp around quite often, so you need to hold them down, but once you catch them, they go down easily. I have repurposed my NPC mining fleet hunting polarized Hecate for this piece of content, and I got to say it does the job perfectly. I will also include a fit for a Heron Navy issue and Imicus Navy issue for reference of what can work. Slower because of way less DPS than a Hecate, but since they can use the expanded probe launcher, they should have a good chance at catching the ships. Next content type is the calmest but also slowest of the activities. It takes place within volatile ice fields which are gated and allow only up to medium-sized mining ships in, so expedition frigates such as Endurance, barges and exhumers, and up to a porpoise if you got a whole fleet you want to boost, or even a blockade runner or DST if you would like to collect some of the ice and move it around. After you take the gate into the site, you'll have an ice belt to mine and Orca secured by Mordu Legion in the middle, and that's basically it. Sometimes regular belt rats might spawn, but taking any ship that can mine ice usually means you can also use drones, so they won't be a problem. The goal here is to get ice, at least 7 pieces, and hand it in the Orca. For every bunch of 7 blocks, you get a crate that can contain various loot. If you have the correct cryotech, you can also hand that in with the ice for a can that has a chance, not guarantee, at better loot drops. For this site I usually just use Endurances. They are fast, allow you to burn back and forth to drop the ice off without jetcan mining or dropping MTUs, which will get abused by other players trying to steal your stuff or shooting deployables to get a suspect timer and anger you enough to get into a losing fight with them. They will be fit for PvP, not mining, and will destroy your ship as soon as you attack them and give them a limited engagement timer, allowing them to shoot back. Endurance also holds up to 19 blocks of ice, so it has a really nice staying power on grid, which is why I consider it the best ship for this and one that has the least chance of being targeted by suspect baiters. This year there is also a trick you can use to get better at ice mining. Recently, ice mining laser mutaplasmids started dropping in Abyssal Dead Space, so you can roll your lasers for a chance at higher crit chance, more crit yield, and surprisingly, mining amount. From what I gathered, this might work in the way that if you roll to have 1200 cubic meters mined per cycle, you get 1 block and 20% chance at a second block on every cycle, so it's worth a try. Last tip for mining ice is that once more, if you're just doing it semi-AFK and don't really need to rush, you can get the whole site to yourself. If a site is exhausted, it disappears from the probe scanner window, but if you stay on it long enough, ice rocks might just start respawning, allowing you to grab some more ice undisturbed. Next in line is exploration. As usual, we go with the ungated data sites here, which, at least in high sec, contain a single can you can hack initially, but if you bring the correct cryotech, hand it in the structure inside of the site, you unlock a second can, doubling your chance at getting loot. The data sites are of level 4 scan difficulty, so getting them might be a tiny bit difficult for newbies, so I have been using my Helios for this. However, you can get a boost to your scan strength through modules, rigs and usage of sister probes, so I built a beefy scanner Imicus that should have a good chance at scanning the sites down. However, once you scan the sites, it should be relatively easy, as the high-sec ones have green cores, making them at least more accessible once you scan them down. If you are struggling with scanning down a site, make sure to go and scan it down to 0.25 AU range, and if you're still not getting it, hold down Ctrl key and pull the probes together to try getting that last percent down. If that still doesn't help, you will have to train or inject some of the scanning skills. Alternatively, you can cheese this a little bit by using the Camel Tech exploration boosters, which are still available from the Crimson Harvest event, so go ahead, buy some of them, and the level 2 one is just 30,000 ISK as I'm looking at it right now, so it should be pretty easy to get. They give you data analyzer virus coherence and also a few percent of scan strength, so they might be just the perfect solution for newbies. The problem of this event for explorers is that the sites are limited to storm only, so they will be quite contested. Getting loot in high-sec might be challenging, but not impossible. Here are some tips on how to stay ahead. First and foremost, don't give up. Make sure to scan every system in the storm you're farming, even if you're not grabbing the data sites first on your initial pass. If you scan everything down and ignore results not related to the event, later coming back to the same systems you have a higher chance for the new site that just spawned being the event one, so you know what SIGs to go for. Then get close to your signatures. If there is just one in system, you know it will take you a few scans to get it down, warp to a celestial close to it, so you have a smaller distance to cover when warping to the site. Another big one is that signatures always spawn within 4 AU of a celestial. If you get a big system and signature is hanging out next to a celestial body and there aren't other celestials close by, put your probes on that celestial at 4 AU, which will start you a little better off. Then, as an extra tip, while having your map open, hold down the D-scan button and click on the signature. This will turn your camera to where that signature is. Double-click in space while looking in the direction of the signature while scanning it down to be basically pre-aligned to where the site will be available as soon as you finish scanning, so you can warp there right away. Last tip is to trust your eyes, not the overview. If you have a tactical overlay on and hover over a module, you'll see its range and how the hacking can enters it. This is a better indication of when structure becomes hackable than your overview, which is always at least a tick behind. This will help you if you land on the site with someone else and need to raise them to grab the can. Lastly, we go for combat. This site has gone through the biggest mechanic change of them all thanks to the cryotech. In high-sec, the site has a structure to hand in the tech at the gate. Marauders have to use a chip to enable the site to lead them to a harder version of it in order to be able to enter, because otherwise they are barred from getting in. This sounds pretty neat, right? Thing is, if someone takes the gate into the site without handing in the cryotech first, the structure becomes inactive. So marauders cannot rush in to contest your site you decided to start with a smaller ship. This is an amazing change by CCP, which divides sites into ones where marauders can contest each other, while in ones started by non-marauder pilots, you will be fighting the other non-marauders if anyone slides into your site for a more even contest. The site in high-sec consists of a single wave of rats that will web, scram and newt you, so similar to last year, and we can assume that you will face up to 3 waves in low-sec where the sites are the toughest. Once you get rid of them, the boss of the site, a battleship, warps in, which you need to destroy to get a decent bounty payout and grab the loot out of it. Once more, for the site I went with my low-key fit for the easiest type of site. I did not store any of the cryotech to test out the tougher sites, you will need to do it yourselves. The low-key has an estimated value of under 700 million ISK at the time I built it, and is similar to the one I used for Crimson Harvest, so if you had that one, you can simply exchange a few modules. I opted into upgrading the armor rep to B-type and having only one of it. The other freed up slot is exchanged for a reactive armor hardener. This turned out fine. While running a site with 3 cruisers and a battle cruiser and some frigates, I started with clearing from smallest to biggest ships and went down to only 70% armor before I outrep the damage. You can also drop drones and have a rat or two aggro onto them if you're not feeling comfortable, or use the dual rep setup from last year's video. In high slots, I left one Nosferatu because it does work on cruisers, and a tractor beam to bring the Rex in if you kill the battleship for easier loot grabbing and pulling it away from potential suspect baiters that will try to loot the Rex. This fit has won a contest against a Tengu and Sleipnir in one site, and in another site I won against a rattlesnake with a gecko, so I think it is doing pretty well. A tip for these sites is of course to not take the bait. If someone grabs your piñata loot, they are probably looking for a fight. You don't have a tackle to hold them on grid, and they might, so don't engage. Move on to a different system to lose them and keep running the sites. For the loot from the event, it looks like the Overseer personal effects got replaced with Nation Stormhive shards, selling in Concord stations for 1 million apiece. Other than that, you will get the usual brain freeze accelerators, combat boosters, salvage from ice mining crates, and so on and so forth. In my initial check on the loot, it seemed that the high-sec one was quite lacking, but maybe it was just my luck trying to rush to get footage of the sites. Hopefully it was just RNG because, well, events do need a bit of loot to keep people engaged. And that's what I got for you today. Get out there, run the events, grab your ice mining destroyer and other goodies, and have some fun. As usual, if you drop any comment under the video, add your in-game name to it. I will be choosing 3 random comments from under this video and give partner exclusive shipskins you see on the screen to the winners. Only original comments count, not answering to someone's comment. 2 more skins will be given away on my Discord server, link in the video description. Both giveaways will finish 3 days from this video being published. If you would like to support me, you can use my referral link in the video description to get 1 million skill points. You lose nothing and I get a kickback from your first purchases done in the EVE Online store if you used it. Other way without an extra cost to you is to use code GUILDY either in the EVE store or on the Market Dragon website. It supports me as I receive a small commission from the purchases done with the code. Lastly, if you want to throw a coin or 2 my way and get a badge next to your name when you comment, you can join the channel. Click the join button below the video to see the details. If you enjoyed this video, share it with a corp mate that might need it, leave a like and subscribe to see my future uploads. If you are interested in what I will talk about next, my videos go up on Sundays. And if we never see each other in space again, Capsulia, fly safe.